Hello, everyone. I wanted to show you a little bit more about our next unit that we're going to be covering. We're going to be looking at another literary criticism, this time specifically the feminist criticism. I'm really excited about this unit, and after looking at everything we're going to do, I hope you are too. All right, the first thing we're going to do, of course, is acclimate ourselves a little bit. And so I want us to develop and apply this understanding of our key concepts and vocabulary for the study that we're going to do of feminist criticism. And so here I'm going to be teaching you about some of the key terms and what feminist criticism actually is. And so we're going to be doing a little bit of a pre-assessment, just some journal writing. To get our brains thinking about what we know about the subject already. We're going to take some notes. That way we have something to refer back to. And then I'm going to show you a visual. I like using examples from Legally Blonde. So we'll look at a couple of clips and we'll have a group discussion about what we find. For our second lesson, we're going to maybe start to understand these concepts a little bit better. Here, I want you to closely read a work of criticism, of feminist criticism specifically. And so you're going to look at these ideas and in a complex text and explain how this author develops their argument. So within that lesson, we're actually going to be looking at a reading called Cinderella, the Legend. It's from Kiss Sleeping Beauty Goodbye, and this is by Madonna Kolbenschlag, who is a famous feminist critic. And so she writes about, the story of Cinderella, which most of us all know. And so we will read that and, of course, have some discussion questions after we do that. That's looking at an example of the feminist criticism in action. Next, we are going to apply some of the things that we've learned. And so what I'd like to do is we're going to look at a couple of texts, the one we just read in the previous lesson, and then the next one that we're going to read, which is titled Hurston's Why Women Always Take Advantage of Men. That is a fun text that's filled with a lot of dialect that you might have seen when you read Hurston's Their Eyes Were Watching God your junior year. And so I want you to kind of remember the dialect as we're reading that and get into it. Of course, we'll do some discussion questions about the text to make sure that we have a firm grip of that text and that we understand. Then we're going to do a Venn diagram where you are going to create your own visual and you're going to compare the two texts. Lastly, I'll have a reflection table that we'll use so we can kind of monitor what our understanding of the feminist critique is as we are moving through the unit. All right, next lesson. Now we're going to start to analyze. So I want to give you a story, and I want you in your groups to create your own interpretation of that story, applying this feminist critique or feminist perspective. And so, of course, from being able to give your reasoning and supplying it with textual evidence. And so the one we're going to be analyzing is The Giving Tree by Shel Silverstein. And so that will be our group analysis activity. And then afterward, I will have a little writing prompt for you to complete. The next lesson here, I think you guys will really enjoy this. This is where it starts to get a little bit more independent. You in your group are going to create a short presentation detailing your application of the feminist criticism to a work of your choice. And so here I'm giving you guys a lot of leeway. I want you to use the questions that we've used for the previous lessons, and I want you to start to use those on your own when looking at things that you like to watch or books that you like to read and things of that nature. And so here you will have a presentation where you decide the format as well as the text that you are analyzing. And last but not least, the summative assessment that you will have is where you are going to have to create an essay where you create your own analysis, applying the feminist critical perspective to a short story. Now, unlike the last activity where you had all the leeway and all the freedom to choose, you are actually going to have to choose between two stories that I've given you. The first is The Story of an Hour by Kate Chopin, and the second will be The Chaser by John Collier. These are two, like I said, very short stories. But what I'd like for you to do is to read both, and then you're going to choose one that you have a lot of ideas about, or that really strikes you, that you can write a lot about using this feminist perspective. All right, and so that is our unit on feminist criticism. I think you guys will really enjoy this, and I'm looking forward to sharing it with you. Bye.